Hey everyone, it's me again with another car video. Today we're actually going to be going over a full review on the Rimac Nevera hypercar. By the way, in my last video that I made about the Rimac Nevera, I missed out on a lot of important things, which I'm going to go over in this video. By the way, people in the comments of the original Rimac Nevera video told me that I was actually pronouncing the name wrong, and it's supposed to be pronounced like Rimac with a Z at the end instead of Rimac with a K at the end or a C at the end. And after doing a little bit of research, I found that they're actually right. So, from now on, I shall be pronouncing it Rimats. Anyways, I hope you all are having an awesome day, and if you aren't, I hope it gets better. But anyways, here's a new and improved detailed review on the Rimac Nevera. Firstly, let's start off with the name. So, this is the Rimac Nevera hypercar, which was unveiled on June 1st, 2021. By the way, if you don't know why they went with the name Nevera, it's because Nevera is a Croatian Mediterranean storm that comes unexpectedly and is a combination of lightning, thunderstorms, strong winds, high tidal waves, and rain, which characterizes this car incredibly well.
So the C2 becomes the Nevera.
Let's start off with the price. The Rimac Nevera is worth $2.4 million plus taxes. It's an extremely powerful hypercar that Rimac have been developing for quite a long time now, and the overall result of continuing to develop it is what gave them these astonishing results. In this case, the Rimac Nevera. Despite it being the fastest accelerating production car in the world, it has been globally homologated, meaning it's road legal in every country basically. So no matter where you live, you can have it in your country. Exterior. Now, I know that you guys probably just want me to jump straight in and talk about the Nevada's performance output, but I really want to cover basically everything in this video, because I know I left a bunch of stuff out on the last one. So I'm going to start off with the exterior of the car. The design of the Rimac Nevera is unique, and it seems expensive, however it doesn't have a factor on it that says something like, hey, look at me guys, I'm a f***ing hypercar. Instead, it's more calm and restrained, which is really nice. The whole bodywork of the Nevera is carbon fiber as well. Looking at the front and back of the car, it has active air on it. The Rimac Nevera relies mainly on electronic motion-controlled body parts to adjust the aerodynamics. At the front, it has the front diffuser and bonnet wing, and at the back it has a rear diffuser and rear wing, which can all be controlled independently. The bonnet vent at the front feeds air into the radiators to cool the front motors and battery, but if it's too hot outside, the bonnet wing can close, and the air conditioning unit activates to cool the front motors and battery. The rear wing at the back can change its angle depending on what driving mode you are in, and it can also act as an air brake to help slow the car down. To cool the rear motors and battery, Rimac designed something called the necktie cravat, which kind of looks like a bow tie, basically to symbolize these 17th century soldiers from Croatia who had bow ties on them, which is really cool. Adding on to that, the vents along the side of the car also have 3 LED lights, which can tell you what driving mode you are in, and you can also customize them yourself. For example, you can have red, white, and blue, which by the way are the colors on the Croatian flag. The Nevera also features butterfly doors, which makes it super easy for the driver and passenger to get in and out without hitting their heads on the door. The Nevera also is a hypercar that loves breaking records. The Nevera has the largest carbon fiber monocoque chassis. The only metal parts are the crash structures at the front and back. The Nevera has a structural rigidity of 70,000 newton meters per degree, which basically means that you can apply up to 70 tons of force and the chassis will only twist by 1 degree. Basically, what that means is that it's really f***ing stiff. To put this into comparison, a Bugatti Chiron Supersport has a structural rigidity of 50,000 newton meters. But then again, the Bugatti Chiron is now also Mate Rimac's car now, because Rimac and Porsche own Bugatti now. So yeah. Stay tuned for the next video. Interior. The interior of the Nevera is very much futuristically designed. There's lots of carbon fiber throughout the interior of the car. Everything is basically controlled through the tablet in the middle. However, everything in the Nevera has been made specifically for the Nevera. The Nevera doesn't share any of its parts with other hypercars. For example, the software that's been inputted to the car is completely their own design. They didn't buy it from another company. There's Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as well. There are 3 digital screens in total. One in front of the driver, which is the instrument cluster, a tablet-style screen in the center console, and a third screen in front of the passenger, which shows what speed you are traveling at. The screen in the center console provides many information, such as performance data and navigation. Other than that, the car's driving features and performance characteristics are controlled via knobs. The steering wheel is made out of leather clad. Modes of the Nevera. The knobs above the tablet tell the driver what mode they are in. There are many different modes in the Nevera. There's range mode, cruise mode, sport mode, drift mode, track mode, and 2 modes that you can configure yourself. There's also a second knob that shows how much torque is being delivered to the front wheels and rear wheels. With that knob, you can alter how much torque is being delivered to the front and rear wheels. Basically, it's completely insane what you can do with this car. You can have either 30% torque for the front wheels and 50% for the back wheels. It's totally up to you. Range mode has 50% torque being delivered at the front and at the back. Sport mode has 70% torque at the front and back. Drift mode has 100% torque at the rear wheels and 0% at the front, which is actually Mate Rimatz's favorite mode. And there's track mode that has 100% torque for the front and back. Technology. Technology in the Rimac Nevera is not just restricted to the exterior and interior, or even limited to just screens and driving data. This hypercar comes equipped with 12 ultrasonic sensors, 13 cameras, and 6 radars. This allows the Rimac Nevera to have level 4 autonomous driving. This also allows the car to have a driver coach. The driver coach is when the computer is giving feedback to the driver as you race around a racetrack or just drive in general. For example, if you're coming out of a corner, it might say once out of the corner, start accelerating, or something similar to that. You also have pure torque vectoring because there is an electric motor for each wheel. Torque vectoring is basically a way the car can keep its wheels planted on the ground. Rimatz's software calculates how much each tire is gripping the road, and it directs its attention towards the tire that is not gripping the road that well, and accelerates that specific wheel to make it stick to the road. For example, if you're turning left on a twisty road, the car will brake the inside wheels and accelerate the outside wheels using the motors to help you turn. The Nevera, it is a hypercar, first of all, although Rimac has not forgotten about practicality. In the interior, you have space to put your phone in the center console and some storage behind the tablet screen. You also have cup holders which have apparently been engineered to hold bottles in place even while you're drifting. And there's also a really small glove box in front of the passenger. In this Nevera, you have up to 100 liters of luggage capacity, according to a car channel called CarWow. Being an electric car, you would expect it to have some storage space at the front too. But no, there is no storage space at the front because it is all used for the air conditioning unit for cooling the battery, due to the battery being so big. Now let's get onto the wheels and brakes. So, the Nevera has 20-inch alloy wheels at the front and back, which have center locking nuts on them, like on most racing cars. Now, let's talk about the brakes. In the Nevera, there are 390mm carbon ceramic brake discs at the front and back, which are gripped by 6-piston calipers at the front and back. But being an electric car, you also have the regenerative braking system. Now, the regenerative braking system in this hypercar is not like any other regenerative braking system on many other electric cars. The regenerative braking on the Nevera can regen brake up to almost 300 kilowatts. If we were to convert kilowatts to horsepower, 300 kilowatts is roughly equal to 402 horsepower. The regenerative braking system on the Nevera can brake up to 0.6 G, and the car's maximum braking G force is 1.2 G. So half of the braking is done with just the regenerative braking itself. A car channel called CarWow tested the braking system on the Rimac Nevera by seeing how much distance it takes for it to stop from 70 miles per hour, or roughly 113 kilometers per hour. And it took 43 meters for it to stop, which is pretty good. Battery. The Rimac Nevera has a 120 kilowatt hour battery pack, which is the largest battery pack fitted to any production car. The peak power charging for the Nevera is 500 kilowatts. This means it can go from 0 to 80% in just 18 minutes, although there aren't really any 500 kilowatt chargers available right now. But they are coming. They just haven't come yet? Anyways, if you were to go to a 50 kilowatt charger, it'll take around 2 hours to charge the Nevera. The way they position the battery, however, is actually fairly interesting. With regular electric cars, put the batteries at the bottom of the car, like a skateboard design. The only problem with this is people are going to have some problems with their legs because the seats are quite low and the floor is quite high, making it not as comforting for your legs. And in hypercars, engineers have to design them in a way that the driver has to be sitting low, practically on the floor almost. Putting the battery on the floor would result in the height of the car being raised slightly. In the Nevada, what they did is they mid-mounted their battery packs, kind of like many mid-engine supercars, and then some of the battery packs extend down the center tunnels and spreads out in the front of the footwells. This helps spread the weight and makes the battery a structural element. Now let's finally get on to the performance. The Rimac Nevera has a 120 kWh battery pack that supplies power to 4 electric motors. Each electric motor has its own gearbox as well. It's a single-speed gearbox, so there's basically no transmission. The 120 kWh battery has a maximum power output of 1.4 megawatts, which is equivalent to 1,914 horsepower, which is insane. The Nevera also has 2,360 newton meters of torque. The torque is actually split amongst the 4 electric motors. The front two motors can deliver up to 560 newton meters of torque, 280 newton meters for each motor, and the rear two motors can deliver up to 1800 newton meters of torque, and 900 newton meters for each motor. So the rear motors are actually more than twice as powerful as the front motors. This allows the Rimac Nevera to go from 0 to 60 miles an hour in just 1.85 seconds, and 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in 1.97 seconds. It can go from 0 and reach a speed of 300 kilometers per hour in just 9.3 seconds, and it can keep going to a top speed of 258 miles per hour, or 412 kilometers per hour. With all this power comes the weight, though. Due to the Rimac Nevera having lots of carbon fiber, the original prototype of the Nevera actually had a two-speed gearbox on the rear axle, although they switched to a single-speed gearbox because it saved around 100 to 150 kilograms. However, the Rimac Nevera still weighs in at around 2,150 kilograms, or 4,740 pounds, which is pretty heavy for a hypercar. But this weight benefits the car slightly. The weight helps the car put the power down onto the road. This way, when racing, they can get off the line with less wheel spin. Even though this hypercar is heavy, the 120 kWh battery pack still allows the Nevera to have a range of 340 miles, or 550 kilometers. Quarter mile times. Ever since the Rimac C2 was unveiled, it was then renamed to Rimac Nevera. This hypercar has been breaking its own quarter mile time records ever since it was unveiled. At first, it was rumored that it can complete the quarter mile in 9 seconds. Then, when Rimac was testing the hypercar, they got a time of 8.9 seconds. When Rimac tested it again, they got 8.8 seconds. However, they knew it could go quicker, so they tested it on a prep surface, and they got 8.7 seconds. Then, when it was unveiled on June 1st, 2021, CarWow tested it, and they managed to get 8.62 seconds, which is a world record for any production car. Then later down, on August 13th, 2021, another drag racing channel called Drag Times tested the Nevada, and they managed 8.58 seconds on the drag strip, which is insane. The Nevada has been basically breaking its own records, which is incredible. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I feel much better about this video, honestly, rather than my previous one on the Rimac Nevera. I missed out on a bunch of stuff last time, so I figured let's do it again. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, check out my other videos too, and I'll see you in the next video. See ya!